everybody, it's Trish and I'm here to bring you a book review. So the book that I'm going to be reviewing for you today is These Broken Stars by Amie Kaufman and Meagan. The first part of this video will be a spoiler-free review, and then afterwards I'll go into more detail about the book because I loved this book so much and I have to talk about it. So These Broken Stars are about two teenagers, Tarver and Lilac. Tarver has found himself to be a war hero and very famous all of a sudden, as he's done such a great job in the fight against the rebellion that exists in the colonies of the galaxy that this book takes place in. Lilac is the daughter of the richest man in the galaxy, and they are both aboard the Icarus, which is a big, fashionable ship for all the rich people in the galaxy, and Tarver finds himself there and a little bit out of his element when he meets Lilac. Lilac takes a lot of interest in Tarver at first, despite the fact that she is so out of his league and she knows that none of that can end well because her father is very overprotective of her. And then there's also her cousin Anna, who is basically sent along with Lilac anywhere she goes to keep an eye on her and to report back to her father. At first, Tarver almost takes the bait because she's beautiful, and despite the fact that he knows that she couldn't possibly be really that interested in him, and he knows that she's likely to play games, he takes the bait anyway, and they start to talk. The next time Tarver and Lilac meet up, Lilac is extremely rude to Tarver and tells him that there's basically no way that they could ever be anything because she is the richest girl in the galaxy and he is just a military boy, and there's no way. No way. So she's a little bit of a snob to him. When the Icarus starts to fall apart, Tarver and Lilac find that they're in the same escape pod and they crash land on an unknown planet. During the time that they're on this unknown planet, you can see a whole lot of character development, especially from Lilac. They go from despising each other, despite their mutual attraction, to really depending on each other. Lilac very much depends on Tarver to get her through this planet and to find a way to get rescued off of this before they both basically starve to death. When they first crash land, Lilac is extraordinarily stubborn and she's really rude, and anything that Tarver says she wants to fight against despite the fact that she knows she can't make it without him. I've given this book a 5 out of 5 stars. It's absolutely one of my favorite reads of this year. It's definitely going to make my top 10 list. No questions asked. It was just so beautiful. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into a deeper discussion about the book, so this is where spoilers are going to start. So if you don't want to see spoilers, stop watching now. Okay, let's just talk about this book and let's just discuss it because I loved it so much and it was so beautifully written, and it's probably one of the best debut novels that I've ever read. There are definitely times through this novel and at the very beginning where you're just like, oh my gosh, what is gonna happen? Holy crap. There are times when Lilac's really gonna piss you off because she's just so stubborn and she can be so naive and you just wanna be like, stop! Just listen to what Tarver has to say. And throughout it, Tarver isn't innocent either. He likes to irritate Lilac. He likes to let her know that he is superior on survival and that if it wasn't for him, she would not make it because she's traveling in a pair of high heels and this green ball gown dress, and that she's not practical at all while he's absolutely trained as somebody in the military to survive. There are a lot of strange things that are going on this planet. For example, it's in the end stages of what they call terraforming, and from what I gather in the series, what happened is Lilac's father is the richest man in the galaxy and he owns an engineering company, and they go around to different planets and they build them up and they terraform them, which is basically means they build up vegetation and animal life, and then they start to colonize these planets, which also causes trouble. And the whole reason that Tarver is in the military is because these colonies are rebelling against LaRue Engineering, which is the company that Lilac's father runs. For some reason that they can't figure out, despite the fact that this planet that they've landed on is in the last stages of terraforming, there are no people, there are no colonies, and they don't understand what's going on. About a quarter of the way through the book, some really creepy things start to happen. Lilac starts to hear voices, and she can hear them, but Tarver can't. Lilac's starting to believe that she's losing her mind, maybe from the stress of being on a planet and not having any kind of survival instinct whatsoever, or maybe because she's starting to think that they might not be rescued. Whatever it is, she thinks she's losing it, and Tarver is starting to think she's losing it because he can't hear anything that she's hearing. It isn't until about halfway through the book when we find out that Tarver is starting to hear the voices, he's starting to see the visions that Lilac is seeing, and they don't understand what exactly is going on. They have no idea what is causing them to see or hear these hallucinations. On the other side of that, they find out that they really can't get through this without each other, and Lilac can't survive without Tarver, and Tarver can't survive without Lilac, and what goes from being, you know, a love-hate relationship and a mutual attraction really just turns into a really beautiful love story. And it is so amazing, and just the build-up and the character development and the way that this is so beautifully written is so fantastic. Lilac really steps up her game after they find the crashed Icarus ship and Tarver cuts himself on a piece of metal. He gets an infection, he gets sick, he has a fever, and she knows that she has to get to the medical bay in the crashed ship so she can save him, because if she doesn't, she's not gonna make it. Or at least she thinks she's not gonna make it, but she's actually become pretty tough throughout the series, so I would say she might have had a fighting chance. And she's intelligent, I forgot to mention this. She's super intelligent. She knows how to work as an electrician, and she knows a lot of things about wiring and switchboards and all that engineering stuff that goes on for a ship because of an old boyfriend she had in the past. So Lilac, despite all of her fears and all of her insecurities, she does manage to find the medical bay, and she does actually bring Tarver back to health. That's when they discover they can't do this on their own, and they fall in love, and it's absolutely beautiful. I can't stop saying it's absolutely beautiful, because it just is. It's just, it's so good. Eventually, the two of them find a station where people had once come in the terraforming of the planet. Lilac finally admits to Tarver why she acted the way she did on the ship, and it's because in the past, she fell in love with a boy when she was 15 or 16, and her father found out about it, and he sent this boy to the front lines of the military, and he died. So she didn't want Tarver to suffer that same fate when they eventually get rescued. Then again, they eventually start to think they might not be rescued, and that they're going to have to live on this planet and find a way to make it. They stumble across a station where the people who terraformed the planet came to find out about it and to see if it was livable for colonies. What the people ended up finding was an alien energy source, and they're the reason that Tarver and Lilac are having the hallucinations. At one point, Lilac dies because she blows up the door on the station to get in, and she gets hit with shrapnel. Tarver is an absolute mess. He buries her, and then a few days later, she's brought back to life by this alien energy source. And I was just like, holy shit, what is going on here? Because I was so upset that Lilac died. I was like, no way, we're not even close to the end. There's no way this can be happening. She can't be dead. And lo and behold, she wasn't. The alien energy source brought her back to life. Unfortunately, it wasn't without consequence, because they are spread too thin. The energy source is trapped within the station, and they're spread too thin, and they're trying to do too much at once, so Lilac keeps fading. So they discover that the only way for Lilac to get through this is if they release the energy source, and essentially they end up having to kill the energy source off so Lilac can live. They are eventually rescued by Lilac's father's company, and by this time they know that they can't tell the truth, so they decide to just play the game. Tarver's going to make up lies, and Lilac's going to act the same way she did when they first crash landed and act like she was too traumatized to really do anything about it. This doesn't quite work out because Lilac discovers her father is likely to send Tarver out to be killed on the front lines like he did her past boyfriend. And so this is when Lilac decides that no, she's not going to do this. She's not going to be the person that she once was, because if anything happens to Tarver, she's going to be devastated. So she basically tells her dad to F off, and that if he ever does anything to hurt Tarver or Tarver's family, she's going to know about it, and that's going to be the end of their relationship. And since Lilac's mother is dead, she is all he has, and he's not willing to take that risk, that she would never have anything to do with him again. So that is basically the end of the book, and again, it is so good. It is a 5-star read, absolutely amazing debut novel, and I cannot wait to read the second book. I just, oh my gosh, I still think about this book regularly, and I read it like a week ago, and I just think about it all the time, and I can't say enough about this. It's so beautiful. It is so well written, and you definitely need to read this, especially if you like science fiction, and especially if you like love stories. This is the book for you. Read it. It is so good. So that's it for this book review, and I'm not really sure how good this review is going to turn out because all I did was ramble about this book and what happens in it and how awesome it is. So if this sucks, sorry. And I will see you next time with my next video. Bye!